Okay, I'm going to attempt to show the technique that I think I figured out for chipping. It's kind of a combination of something I saw in a video and also some things I think I figured out myself. Just a combination of different things. I'll show you first like kind of what I think is happening here. So like if you have the club straight up and down, then more of the tip here is exposed, so that's going to increase your chances of hitting it like that and kind of blading it across the green. But if your club is sort of angled like instead of being straight up, if it's angled like that, then it's kind of less exposed there, so it's more likely to hit the face of the club and give it some loft, and lead to a better chip, I think. So basically what the way that I'm getting the angle, at first I was kind of doing that angling by basically starting with my normal grip and then just tilting my wrist like that. But what I found is after a while, my wrist gets to hurting because it's like constantly at this, it's kind of flexed like that, and it's also, once it gets tired, it's hard to hold that angle consistently because you have to hold the angle consistently while you swing. So I feel like what I figured out was instead of doing it with the wrist, you can actually just rotate this hand like this a little bit and put your thumb more on like the right side of the club, and then you don't have to angle your wrist like that because the club will already be angled like that with a mostly straight wrist. So then you've got this kind of grip and it serves the same angle. So that's part of it. Another part of it is the ball being you're at like kind of a normal stance. You could be wide. Well, I think probably best is to be about like this, just shoulder width apart, something like that. But I feel like having the ball too far back might not always be a good thing. So I think kind of just here for me has been working, like about 3/4 in the direction of my right foot. And I haven't really figured this out yet, but I think that if you're in like the rough or like sand or something like that, you probably need to stand closer to the ball, just because of the fact that then the club, when you stand closer, the club angles like this more and it digs down more, so you can dig through that rough. Whereas if it's flat, it can't dig through the rough as good. So if you're on the fairway and it's nice and smooth, you can probably get away with being a little further away from the ball. But if you're close, or if you're in the rough and you're sand or whatever, you need to get closer so you can get that edge in there and dig it out. So that's what I figured out about that. But essentially, the swing itself is just sort of being here like this and then keeping your arms kind of to your torso. I saw a video where somebody had a towel like wrapped around their chest and they were holding it in place with their armpits. And I don't think, maybe you don't need to be super tight with it or anything like that. I think it's just kind of a loose thing, but you're kind of keeping everything stable. Because what I found is that if there's any flexi going on, if there's any like looseness going on in the wrists, that's going to mess up your shot. So if you have any of this tilting going on, that's going to mess up your shot. And if you have any of the arms moving like this independently from the torso, that's also going to mess up your shot, because you have to get a very consistent angle. And so it's basically your torso is here and your arms are on the torso, and then you're kind of just you know, taking a nice backswing back like this, and you're kind of rotating your hips a bit and your torso a bit, and then you're just gonna kind of just go through like that. And it's just a really nice, smooth, you know, it's very important to keep the angle consistent. Like, don't let this angle move as you go through the shot. Don't let that angle between your arms and the club change. Don't let it go like this or like that or anything. Just keep it consistent. And you can play around with slightly different angles depending on the loft you want. And so it's pretty much, for being accurate with the shot, I've found it's a combination of the angle for the loft, it's a combination of the lie, so how deep of rough you're cutting into is going to change the distance of your shot, and then also the height of your backswing and the speed of your backswing. So if you're really like forcing it through like that, that's obviously going to go farther. But if you just kind of I found the best, most consistent, accurate way is to just kind of real, you know, just let it kind of swing through. Don't put a lot of muscle into it or anything. You're just going with your torso, and just like that. Like, that's how I've found it to be the most accurate so far. And then you can play around with different heights of the backswing. So like a farther hit is going to be like maybe here, I feel like, but a shorter hit is going to be like here. So you can bring it up to that point and just chip it through. So I have a target set up over there. It's that bucket over there. So I'm going to go ahead and hit a few at that target, and we'll see how it goes. So just I go through just like that. So that one was a bit left, but it was about the right distance. Of course, on a green, it's going to go a lot more. This is like rough grass, so it's not going to give me any rolling really. But that hit another ball, but that ball that I hit primarily, it went at the right distance. It's just a little bit to the right of the target there. So I'll hit a few more. One was a bit short, so I'm going to try a slightly higher backswing. That one was maybe 5 feet in front of the target, so it was pretty good. Like, if it was on a green, it'd probably roll nicely, I think, towards the target, because it had a bit of loft on it. But let's try again, see if we can get closer. That was to the left. A few more. You know, I always like to actually hit it. It's satisfying when you hear that clonk sound. It hits the bucket. So that one was a little strange. I don't know if you saw that, but it kind of hit the ground and stopped. Sorry about the wind. I know the wind's crazy. It just picked up, but that one, it just kind of hit the ground and stopped. And I found that's not necessarily always a bad thing. It just kind of happens sometimes if you like go down a little too far, or if you're in like some deep rough grass or whatever like this. You're not going to want a smooth thing. However, I have seen techniques where people intentionally, oh my goodness, this wind. People will intentionally, chunk it down into the ground like that, right in front of the ball as their chip shot. But I've tried that a lot, and I just feel like it's not consistent enough for me, because sometimes I'll hit the ground a little too much and it won't go as far, and I just don't get the control that I do with this technique. So but that does happen sometimes, where it just goes thunk and just hits the ground. But that's not exactly what I'm going for, just so you're aware. I just want you to be aware of that at least. But I'm gonna hit just a couple more. I know it's a long video, but hey, whatever. there, so it's not terribly long, but as you can see, I'll bring you up to the target here. I think on a golf course, a lot of these would do pretty well, landing on the green and rolling up to the target. So that's definitely the most consistent I've ever been, and I feel like this technique's working for me. So, you know, take it for what it's worth, and maybe it works for you. I don't